Grace, Larry the Great from Lagos, you are welcome. Moses from Lagos, you are welcome. Okay, we have 6 participants already, so it should be more than that. Okay. All right. Kola Wale Ade Wale, you are welcome from Ibadan. Wow. All the way from Ibadan, Oluyole. You're welcome. You're welcome. So let's just wait for just 15 minutes for our facilitator to join, and then we'll jump right into it. There is no time wasting here. So, okay, just to brief you again, this is Badagrian Contemporary, and we are having this section, Purpose-Driven Artists Online Workshop. Now, it is intentional that we call it online workshop because it is not just a seminar that you just learn and then you are hyped up and then you just know and then you don't have anything. It's a workshop because you are going to be getting a practical skills to navigate the art ecosystem. You are going to be getting practical skills, basically, practical skills. So we in the past we try to find a bird view of all the stakeholders in the art industry. When you look at the art industry, we have the artist, we have the gallerist and the curator, and then we have the collectors and the art patrons. So basically, everybody that is in the art industry fits inside of all these 3 sections, except one which is also the art enthusiast. They just love art for art's sake. They are not buying, they are not making, and they are not creating. They just want to see and enjoy the art. So those are the general audience. So, but then the major 3 key holders are the artists, the curators, and the gallerists. Then the art patron and the collectors. So those are the major 3 stakeholders. So the patrons can also be get into like institutions like museum, because museum also facilitate acquisition of artworks. They commission artwork as well to some artists, to high profile artists, of course. And then the patrons and the collectors are those who collect. Those are the people that actually makes the ecosystem keep breathing. Without the collectors, then we are just going to be creating, and artists are just going to be starving, right? So in the past, we've had 2 artists, just like I said earlier. We segment this online workshop to 6 times in a year. So this year we have had 3 sections in the past, 2 artists and 1 curator. So the following year, today we'll be having another curator or a art researcher. And then the following, for the next 2 sections, we are going to be having a collector, and then we'll be having an art patron. So we are going to be having, the purpose is to have a better view of the whole ecosystem, of the whole art ecosystem. And yeah, I'm glad you are joining this meeting with us today. So, like I said, in the past, we've had 2 artists, Christopher Idowu Samuel. We've had Ken Wajogu for the artist section. Then for the curators and the gallery section, we've had Valerie. And then today we'll be having Amanda Iheme. So we'll be doing a brief review of Amanda Iheme's practice, and I have made some research about her. She's such a nice and humble fellow. So, but then if you know who Amanda is, you know that it's a rare privilege for us to have her here on this workshop. When Amanda is having a section with selected people, we collected a large amount of money for that, you know that. So thank God I have a witness in the house, a great teacher, right? So basically what we'll be doing here is going to be giving us a lecture on how to do artistic research, the methodology inside in it, and then the process on how to start and end and conclude about artistic research. And then after this section, you will have a period of question and answer. So if you have questions, you can write them down during the talk. And once it's time for question and answer, then you can start asking your question. And then after the question and answer is over, we wrap it up with that. So you are all welcome once again. So let's just wait a few more minutes for our facilitator to join. Let me check upon her. She's going to be joining us in moment. So let's just wait like 2 more minutes and then she will be joining us. So you are all welcome. If you are just joining, can you just write your name and your location that you are joining us from? Let's see where you are calling, you are joining this meeting from, this workshop from. Okay, we have Kola from Ibadan. Okay, all right. I can see so many people here already. I can see people that are familiar. People like I can see Feromi. I can see Israel. I can see um, Bukola Orioye and the likes. You are all welcome. You are all welcome. Bukola Orioye from Ibadan. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. All right. So let's just wait a few more minutes for the facilitator to join in. I can see. Okay. I can see Juwon. All right. You are all. You guys are welcome. You are welcome. So, if you can do me a favor, because we want this to be for everybody as much as possible. The link that you joined this meeting from, and you must have gotten it from a person or maybe from a friend. Can you just post the link and the flyer on your status, Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, so that people can know that the meeting has started already and they can also join the meeting. So while we are using that moment to wait for our facilitator to join the meeting, can we just do that now? Just copy the link. The ones you are sent that was sent to you, copy the link and then join. Ask somebody to join. People you know that it's artists that you know that will need this. Ask them to join the meeting. All right. Now let's send that to our story or our status, wherever I feel like we can invite people to join. So, all right. Yes. Let's post to our status, our stories that the meeting, the workshop has started, and then share to everybody that we think may need them. All right, we're still waiting for our facilitator to join. It should be in any moment from now. Any moment from now, she should be in. Okay, everyone is allowed, of course. All right. So while we are waiting for our first our facilitator, I just want to wrap up on our previous sections. The first edition we had, we brought in Christopher Idowu Samuel, who talked about um, on a topic that says art for a cause or art for art's sake. So basically, what he discussed was the kind of artists that we have. There are some artists that they just want to make art for art's sake. They don't care about the message that is saying. They just want to make beautiful paintings, and that's it. But then there are some other set of artists that want to make paintings that deals with particular theme, that talks about particular situation in the environment. So that's what that wrapped up in. And our second edition, we brought in Kenua Diogu, who talk about how to discover your artistic voice, basically talking about artistic style and to improve and navigate, get your own unique voice, artistic style and voice out there. And then for the creator section that we had last 2 months, we had Valerie. Valerie talks about how to build artist-creator relationship, how to build a relationship with the curators and the gallerists. So basically now, that's on that. But today, Amanda is already in the house. Good afternoon, Amanda.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon,
Yeah.
everyone.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Thank
Good
you
to have
so much. Thank you so much for waiting for me. I sincerely apologize for my tardiness, but I'm
you.
so grateful to all of you for waiting for me. I had some home emergencies I needed to sort out so I could be fully present for this. So we're here now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So how is everybody doing today? Please leave a response in the chat box. How are you doing today?
I'm fine.
Nice to see you, Paul.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
So
thank
guys,
you.
if you don't answer me, I'll call out your name. Etola Feromi, how are you doing? Kolawole John, Emanadu, how are you doing? Goke, Olarenwaju, Yetunde Ajayi, how's your day going? There's Mariam Aliyu and Israel Ashele. Bukola, how are you? Clinton, how are you doing? How was your day? Samuel Olalekan.
I'm good. Good afternoon. You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Tola. Thank you. I'm glad to hear you're doing okay. Good boss says it's doing fine. Okay, Mariam says her day is going well. Yetunde says, great, my able teacher. I'm doing okay as well. Moses, my day is beautiful and I'm healthy. I'm happy to hear that. Kola Wole, good afternoon too. All right, I'm happy to hear everybody's doing well. And I imagine that those of you who are here on the call are going to stay with me all through to the end of the call. And I do hope that we interact with each other as much as possible because even though this is a learning space for you, I want it to be a place where you are encouraged to also think critically about what it is we're going to be discussing. So for today, I'm going to be talking about artistic research and the importance of it in your artistic practice. Now, when I was thinking about this class, I was like, one of the things I really wanted everybody to leave here with is a good understanding of the fact that this is how artistic research is going to benefit me in my practice. And you're going to do that not because I'm going to tell you, well, I kind of am going to tell you, but the way we're going to go about it is I'm going to tell you what artistic research is. I'm going to tell you what it entails. And then I'm going to tell you about how each bit of it can feed into your practice. And at the end of it, I'll need you yourself to deduce and answer the question that says, how important is artistic research in your own practice? From the amount of knowledge you've gathered, can you yourself answer the question? Is everybody on board with me? Do you understand what I mean?
Thank you.
Okay. Are you guys on board with me? I'm going to need you guys to respond to me in the chat box so I know that we're one and together. If you don't answer me, I'll call your name. Most of us, do you understand? Yetunde, are you also on board? Do you understand what I'm talking about? Okay. Farami, do you also understand? Are you on board as well? Amazing. Salmon, thank you for responding. Great. Okay, so first things first, the first question I want to ask everyone is this. When you think about the concept of research or artistic research, what comes to mind? I want to know what we're working with, first of all. When someone says to you that, oh, I do research in my practice, I do research, I researched into this one, or somebody else comes to say, that what they do is they practice research, or you're telling other people about research, what do you think it means to you in your mind? What is the understanding? What do you think they're trying to communicate to you? Okay, Yetunde says doing deep findings on a subject. Yes, that is true. Anyone else? Anyone else? Like I said, if you don't answer me, I'll call names. Anyone else? Any idea? Gaining more knowledge, exploring the narrative. Exactly. Moses, you're correct as well. Gaining more knowledge about something. I need one more person to tell me. When someone says they've done research, what comes to your mind? Looking into details about what you want to explore. That is true. That is true. What else? What else? What else again? Okay, delving into happening related to the subjects, talks, events, and writings. Okay, so you know what we're going to do here? I'm going to now, I'm going I'm going to now screenshot all of you people's response, right? Let me just screenshot it. Takam. So as I've screenshotted it now, when we're now done with this class, I'm going to ask you all the same question all over again. And I want to hear what your responses are. After you've learned everything that you want to learn and everything that I have to share, I want you all to then tell me what you have learned from it, okay? So let me just, I don't know why my screenshot isn't working right now, but I need to just take a photo of everything that you said.
I can do that. I think I can do that from here.
Okay, you can help me screenshot it. Amazing, thank you. I just want a picture of everybody's response, essentially. Yeah. Okay, so now the second question I have for you
Done.
that for those of you that say that you do research, anybody here on this call that thinks that they do research in their practice, and if I come to talk to you about your work, you're going to say, what I do is I research into blah, blah, blah. How do you practice research in your practice? What does it look like? What does research look like in your practice? If you are a person who says, I do research, I research into my work, I research into topics, what does that look like in your practice? What do you do? I want to know. Share with me.
Hello.
Anyone? Does this mean that nobody here does research in their art practice? You could just be working based on vibes.
Hello.
I think so.
I, I want to
Okay.
try to do something.
Okay, sorry, Israel, what did you say?
Oh, so I will not say I'm a research-based artist because
Mm-hmm.
I just recently started trying to do researches when developing some body of work now.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've learned now is that if you are to make any body of work, you're supposed to make research about archives of what has happened over the years. So you
Yeah.
can attaining to what you are searching about. You're going
Mm-hmm.
supposed to check maybe other artists have already done what you are exploring already.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you have to check maybe articles or write-ups that do say things about what you are
Yeah.
exploring.
Yes. Yes.
So so maybe when you are bringing up your research, you can have um, man's things to say. You can tell them this thing has happened this year. This person has talked about it. This is the way they used to do it. This is the way I'm approaching mine. So basically, that's what I've learned.
Okay. So my question to you was, how do you then practice research? So I know this is what you've learned, but is this what you do in your practice? If you have like a body of work you're working on at the moment, have you taken out time to see what other people have done? Or is there any other research method you are employing whilst you're doing this work?
And currently, as I said, I'm just going into the research field. So I'm working on a body of work right now, and I'm still doing about going about looking for people that have worked in uh, that line, and I'm making
Mm-hmm.
research. The research is about missing people all over the world and in Nigeria. So
Huh.
I'm, I'm collecting archive of um, data and posters of people that have gone missing over the years.
Yeah.
So maybe before the end or a year on that, I might show it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe when I feel like my research is good enough,
Yeah.
I can put it out.
Okay. Okay. That's actually very valid. Well done. Because everything you said was that you've learned so far about what research is very accurate, even though I will definitely expand a bit more on it, but we're very much in line. So let me see what other people are saying. Bukola says that she reads and takes photos of materials of literatures or subject matter of interest. She listens to talks and then history. Mariam says it directs you to what has been and what will be as time goes on. But I don't know what you do in your practice. So the question again that I asked is, how do you conduct research in your practice? What does research currently look like? So I don't need people to tell me what research is, okay? I need you to tell me what you do in your practice that qualifies as research for you. That's what I'm interested in hearing. So thank you for those who have shared their point of view, but I want to hear from you what you do. Good Boss says, ask people who are inexperienced in that field and what I'm willing to know. And then Moses says, trying out different mediums, taking tutorials, asking questions from those that have walked the path I'm on. So for many of you, when it comes to doing research, it's really about referring to or referencing people who have done what you were trying to do before, going to the past to do it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to now talk to all of you about what research really is, especially when you say you're doing artistic research in your practice. And we're going to go over the different aspects of it as much as we can. Of course, everything I'm teaching you can be very much in depth and gone into deeper if we had more time. But then I would do my best to be able to do it, explain everything as well as I can within the time frame that we have. And if you have any questions along the way, we'll definitely have moments of pause where we can ask questions and based on what we have learned before, and then you can have general questions that we can answer much later as the talk goes on. Okay, so once again, I'm going to now take a screenshot of the responses that you have all given me now. So I figured out how to do the screenshot on my system. I was pressing the wrong code. Okay, so Chakam, I'm taking note of this one. At the end of this class, I'm going to ask you the same questions and I will present to you the answers you gave before and then the answers that you have now so that you can see how much you have learned. And then we're going to have a little bit of an assignment that I would like you to carry on with you as you go on in your practice. So let us begin. So I'm going to share my screen now. So please give me a moment. I'm going to share my screen with you. Da, 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 da. Please, once you can see my screen, just show by hand, okay? Mhm. Okay. Mhm. I think I'll have to share my entire screen because I can't seem to just share a bit of it. Okay. Okay, can you all see my screen? Can you all see my screen?
Yes,
Okay.
visible.
Okay, perfect. All right. So thing is now that I'm actually, let me see if I can just open this as a tab on my laptop. 1 second. So I don't have to keep, because I want to be able to see your chats and this is making it a bit difficult. So 1 second. Let me see if I can just open it as a tab on my laptop. Can everyone see the artistic research screen? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So let us begin. So, just like everybody said, when you think about the concept of artistic research, what we are talking about is a combination of all that you have done, or all that you have all expressed, which is exploring, developing a research question, reading photo materials, delving into things that happened in the past, working with archives, and even looking at events, watching videos, conducting interviews, writings. All of these things qualify as artistic research. But to give it a better, much more clear definition, artistic research is, or a simpler one, is when you blend the artistic process, that is the things that you do in your practice, with the points that you are arguing for. That is, you're trying to say that I believe that I have this question that blah, blah, blah is possible. And to answer that question, you are then using your artistic practice to answer the question. It isn't just simply about going on social media to watch videos that will feed your work. It isn't just going on Google to ask questions or just simply reading a book. It is working with intention, and that intention being that you are trying to answer a question. You are trying to answer a question that you have proposed or to add to a narrative that you are interested in. But whatever it is that you're doing is very much embedded in your artistic practice. It exists outside of it. You don't do artistic research for anything outside of your artistic practice. You do it for and within that practice. Now, what artistic research does is that it has the ability to unsettle current narratives. So if there is a way that people think about a certain point of view, an angle, a thought, an opinion, when people do artistic research, what they do is that they try to question that particular point of view. Why do we think the way we do? Why do we act this way? Why must we perceive this particular phenomena as this particular thing? And because as artists, we work with the nuances of life, we work with the things in between, not the things that we can see. And I'm talking about emotions, thoughts, feelings. We try to communicate this with our work. And someone with me, can you show by hand? Okay, Miriam says yes. Everyone else? Okay, the components of artistic research. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Dotun. I did get this definition from the University of Music and Performing Arts because I think it's a very good definition that properly encompasses what artistic research is. Is that it is an umbrella term for knowledge-oriented artistic practices with pronounced reflective components. And what that means is that when you say someone is practicing artistic research, either they're doing it for a particular body of work or they're taking it on as an identity or a role they want to have as a part of their practice. So you could be a researcher, and that's what you do in your practice. Or you can use artistic research as a tool to be able to answer questions for a body of work that you are working on, which is the one that has to do with the question. So you can have it as a tool or have that as a part of your practice. Whichever way it is, you are gearing towards knowledge. So it isn't just about the creation of the body of work, but also the seeking of knowledge. So seeking of knowledge with pronounced reflective components. And those reflective components mean that you are constantly asking question. It is characterized by formulation and engagement with research questions and includes documentation, analysis, theoretical contemplation, and that is when you read books and a person proposes an idea, you spend some time thinking about why is it that way and why not something else. And must it mean this? Maybe not even to question, but to even expand based on what you know and what you're experiencing, as well as reflecting on the chosen methods and the relationship between the researcher and the research process. So it means that when you're doing artistic research, you're formulating a question, you're documenting information, you're analyzing information that you're gathering as well, you're you're contemplating theories, that is proposing or expanding or questioning what exists, then you're reflecting on the methods with which you have chosen to seek your questions, to seek answers for your questions, and constantly engaging with the work where you are sitting back and saying, oh, I am the researcher. The entire process I have put before me, does it make sense? And is it good for me? An artistic researcher also either works with a research team or they work alone. But hardly do they work alone because you have to work with other people. And sometimes it must then involve you utilizing tools from other disciplines. So just because you're a painter does not mean that when you're doing research into a particular question or topic or area or making it a part of your practice that you are only going to work as a painter, only going to read the works of painters. No. Sometimes you might find yourself working with sound. You might find yourself working with light or color or something entirely different, because all of this help you to gain knowledge. And then also you can use scholarly methods and parts of knowledge, which is the scientific way of conducting research. So don't be too surprised if when you are conducting artistic research, you find yourself saying things that people who conduct scientific research would normally say. Then also, let me turn my camera on as well so that we are all in this meeting together. Okay. On camera. Okay, great, perfect. Okay, it's on now. So let me continue. Oop, where's my sheet? Okay. Then they also mentioned that the research approaches and the context of the project will take into account the state of the art, which is what everyone was referring to when you say that you're going to find what already exists. So if you are trying to propose a question and the question is seeking to answer something that you think is new, you have to go back and see what already exists, what have people already done. And even if I'm looking at all the things that people have done, this work I'm doing, how does it impact the industry that I am a part of as an artist? And then finally, when you do conduct research or you use artistic research as a tool in your work, in your practice, your findings must be publicized. That is, other people need to be able to come to utilize the information you have found out, which is why documentation and analysis are very important parts of artistic research. I mean, when you are doing your research, you do need to look at the work of other people too. So you have to give back to the community that gives to you. So whatever it is that you find in the process of your artistic research journey, you have to publish this or find other way of disclosing it to other people with the mindset that you are contributing to the further development of the art industry. Now, let's look at the different types of artistic research, because when we say we're doing artistic research, what do we mean? What are we talking about? And according to the researcher, Henk Bergdorf, his name is Henk Bergdorf, he came up with 3 different types of artistic research. And this can better help you understand what it is that you are trying to do when you say you are doing artistic research. So there is research on the arts, research for the arts, and then research in the arts. Okay, so now when we say research on the arts, what we're doing is that when you say you're doing, well, I'm doing research on an art form, or I'm doing research on something, research on the arts is just a study of the art. So let me use my airport box, for example. So if I said I was doing research on airports, right? All I am doing is I'm trying to study this earboard. So if you're doing research on drumming or research on dance, what you're doing is you're trying to understand what drumming is and what dance is and what this earbud is. It is merely geared towards seeking information. And the object, or rather the subject of your research, is not tampered with by you or even changed by you. We tend to see this type of research when people go into archival works, like they go into the past, they want to gather information, they want to learn about something, they want to study something. They will go to archival works, dig into it, and find the information. You're not going to change anything in that space. You're just going to go and extract information. And whatever information is extracted, we'll probably see them as treaties, people write essays, people have monographs, people have even YouTube videos. So when you do research on something, you're trying to gain knowledge. So if somebody comes and tells me that, oh, Amanda, I'm doing a semantic research work, and I'm like, oh, what type of research are you doing? And they're like, oh, I'm just trying to understand how blah, blah, blah fits into that, and if can be, if we can use it to blend something, whatever. I'm like, oh, you're doing research on the art. So you're doing research on this thing. Now, the second type of research is research for the arts. So now, when we're doing research for the arts, we're trying to improve something without changing it. Take, for example, your iPhone. The iPhone necessarily doesn't change much, but it does also get better. It still remains an iPhone. If you're buying iPhone 17, iPhone 18, iPhone 19, iPhone 20, you are sure that you are going to get the same thing, a phone that can help you connect to other people. Now, when they now do research for an iPhone, they're trying to get the iPhone to be better. So that's why you keep on having the different levels of it, iPhone 20. So they're doing research for the iPhone. So when you are doing research for the arts, you are now going beyond just trying to understand what it is. You're trying to understand it, and then how can you improve it? How can I be better with it? How can I make it more than what it is? But you're not going to change it. If you're going to do research for drumming, you want to make drumming better, but you're not going to stop drumming from being drumming. You're not going to make it into an entirely different art form. No, no, no. All you're just trying to do is make it better. So sometimes an example of this is when we want to innovate, or we want to make floor tiles, for example, for architecture spaces. I want to find a different way of designing floor tiles. You're still going to make floor tiles. You're not going to change that very subject. It's going to be floor tiles, but you might make it a better type of floor tile. So it could maybe be a floor tile that can conduct heat. Another one maybe can conduct energy. Maybe it's a floor tile that can make your floor seem less slippery. It still remains a floor tile. You will still put it on the floor. So when you do research for the arts, you improve the subject and the object without changing it. You're just making it better. A better earphone. That's what you're trying to do. But then when you do research in the arts, please keep in mind that everyone has a different definition for this, but we all center around the same thing. You're trying to take what already exists and then make it better, and in that process, also then change it entirely. Okay? So we tend to see this with designers, how someone can take, like in fashion, a raffia mat now, for example. They take the raffia mat. You typically will put the raffia mat where? On the floor. If I did research on raffia mats, what I will tell you is about everything raffia mats is about. If I did research for raffia mats, I will try and improve how you make raffia mats. Maybe we want to make it a bit tighter, change the design, but it will still be raffia mats. But if I do research in raffia mats, what might come out of it is that I will turn that raffia mat into a dress. I might turn that raffia mat into a scarf. I might figure out, oh my God, I can use that raffia mat. Instead of putting it on the floor, I can actually now use it as a shield for a light bulb. So research in the art takes what already exists and what is already known and then transforms it into something else. You change its style. So if they did research in the iPhone, it would be maybe how can they deconstruct the iPhone, but then reconstruct it in a way that you can utilize it for something entirely different. Even if it may remain a phone, it could probably be a phone that can, transform into a music boombox or something. So research in the art changes the subject. It moves it from its place of origin into another space to make it something different. Now, the reason reason why it's important to know this particular thing is when you're stepping in to do research, it's important to ask yourself, what am I doing this research for? Why am I asking all of these questions in my artistic practice? Am I doing it because I want to understand something better? Am I doing it because I want to improve the way we utilize something, or even improve the way we see something, or expand our consciousness or awareness of something? Or am I doing it because I want to completely just detonate what already exists from what I know and create something new? That is, create new knowledge. In all of this, you'll be creating new knowledge nonetheless. But just knowing what type of artistic research you're doing can be very helpful in framing the way you do your work. Okay? All right. Are we all on board? Is everybody with me? Marvelous, marvelous, marvelous. Does anyone have any questions for me? Samuel has a question. Okay, Samuel, what's your question? Hello, Samuel, you have your hand up. Do you have a question for me? You can unmute yourself. Okay, I'm not hearing anything from you, so I'm going to carry on. So now let's go into what the role of a researcher is. You, that you are the researcher, what is your responsibility? Now, a researcher has three intertwined tasks, and these are the things that you need to think about. That when you say to me, Amanda, I'm using an artistic research, I'm doing artistic research as a tool to answer this particular question, or you say that you are doing artistic research because you want to become a researcher, these are the three things that we expect to see in your work, or we expect from you as an artistic researcher. So the first one is that you need to develop and perfect your skills. Now, you can't be a researcher, go and then come back and you're giving me the same thing. Then what is the point of the research that you've done? Are you saying that you didn't gather any knowledge? Are you saying you didn't learn anything? Are you saying you didn't improve your skills at all? No, you must be transformed by the work that you do. So you need to know that if you're going to use it as a tool or you're going to make it a part of your practice, you are using it to innovate even your own artistic skills. So maybe if you're painting and your brush strokes were, very fast, now they're going to maybe be slower because that particular skill will help you tell your story a lot better. But you must perfect your skills as an artist. You must perfect your vision. That is how you see your work and how you do your work, and also your conceptual thinking. That is your ability to think of different concepts. And these things happen when you read, when you engage with work critically, and also work with other researchers in their work. Like I said here, this happens when you develop your vocabulary, not just for making your work, but also for thinking about your work, for speaking about your work, and writing about your work. So when you're going into artistic research, you must know that I'm coming out of this knowing that I'm going to be a better artist, I'm going to be able to speak about my work better, I'm going to be able to write about my work better. The second thing is that you need to know that you're contributing to academia and the invincible colleges around the world. And this is an example of an invincible college, the places where we go to learn. Whatever it is that you are learning, whatever information you're extracting, whatever knowledge is being created, you are giving it back to the academic community, either because you have proposed an argument in form of a thesis, or you have a narrative you have proposed where you're saying that this can now be seen as or should be this particular way. And by doing so, you are increasing the body of knowledge that other researchers and other artists can now begin to rely on. So the first thing is you are improving your practice. The second is that you are conscious of the fact that you are contributing to academia. And the third is that you must be able to communicate with the artistic community. So you're not just doing it simply because you can do something, no. And doing it and keeping it inside your house, no. A researcher or anyone conducting research will share the work that they would share the knowledge that they have gathered with the rest of the world. Now, the way you share this work, oh, it's raining. Now, the way you share this work is really up to you. Unlike science, where you do conferences where everybody's going to come and say, oh, this is what I'm doing, this is what I've been working on. In artistic research, the way you educate your audience can be different. It could be through a lecture. It could be through, a performance art piece. It could be through a dance performance. It could be through a workshop. So you're not limited in the sense that if I have to share the information I've learned, I must do it this particular way. No, no, no. You can also have your artistic practice be the part of the audience education, an open studio. It could even be just you creating a body of work that you're sharing with the rest of the world. So you as a researcher, what we expect from you is that you're improving your work, you're sharing your knowledge, and you're aware of the fact that everything you're doing is contributing to the knowledge bank of a community. So you're documenting whatever it is that you are creating. So then we go over now to artistic research methodology. And this is pretty much just what are the different methods that we do utilize when we conduct artistic research. So artistic research methods could be effective in exploring people's subjective experiences. Like I said to you, as artists, we work with abstract concepts, feelings, emotions, thoughts, ideas, experiences. We work with existence. We work with spirituality. Some of the things that we work with, you cannot touch them. You can't say you're building a laptop or you're building this. Some of us are world builders. Those are things that are inanimate objects, but still very much feed into the fabric of society and even the meaning in your work. So the art-based research methods or the artistic research methods that I utilize are typically those that allow us to extract that type of information for our work. Where verbal descriptions may not be sufficient to explore these topics, these sensitive topics, you utilize these art research methods. Okay? So, unlike scientific method, like I said to you, which is focused on finding exact truth, artistic research methods are aimed at understanding and exploring and also communicating subjective truth and objective truth at the same time. So here is a list of different ways, the different research methods that you can use in your own practice. One, making your art. The very process of even creating your artwork is a method of research because in the very act of doing, you are learning something. It could be observation or drawing, going out, sitting down and sketching things that you find interesting. It could be, like I said, a sketchbook, a notebook. You can even have visual diaries. So depending on what you're working on and what you need to gather information, you can have a day one, you go out, you photograph something. Day two, you go out, you photograph something, and then you write about it. Your research could also be delving into your own personal narratives. You can make videos of yourself, and that becomes the very place you get your data from. Critical writing, spending time, contemplating, like we did talk about before, theoretical contemplation. Get what other people have written and write about those things. It could be taking pictures with photography, making videos, sound, models, working with models. Like if you have to paint and you're trying to come up with like a different structure, you can have people come model for you, or maybe you have those modeling things that you can move them around to be able to create a different shape that you can structure. It could be experimenting with different materials that gives you the data you're looking for. Concept mapping, use of metaphors, using flow charts and storyboards to explain concepts. These are the different research methods that you can utilize as an artist. Now, what makes an activity a research method? Because, like I said, not because you opened Google does not a researcher make. There must be intention and there must be a goal. You're not just doing it for vibes, you're doing it because you want to answer a research question, which is a very important thing to have. So for it to be a research method, for whatever activity to say, oh, this person is using this and this is my research method, it is aimed at understanding something or discovering new knowledge that you are going to now utilize in your practice. So you're not just, I just want to know, oh, why is this Nivea pink? I want to know why. Once you know it, it doesn't benefit in any way. And you can't come and say, well, I asked the question about why Nivea is pink. Okay, so now that you know the answer, how does that then feed into the research question you were trying to answer. If it doesn't answer that question or help you understand that question a bit better, then it's not a research question. Sorry, it's not a research method. So your research method must help you answer the question or understand what it is that you are trying to do. Okay? So here are some other examples of other research methods you can use. You can use autophotography, where you ask participants to take pictures of their environment, and then the images you use them as data. You can use photo elicitation, where you bring out pictures and then the pictures can trigger conversations or generate an interview, a discussion amongst people, and then the conversation that comes out of that, you can utilize that information as data for your practice. Reflective research methods. So you can have people, and this can also be even yourself as a researcher, where you ask them questions and have them record events or experiences that they have, kind of like diaries over a period of time. There's participatory video making, which is kind of like the autophotography, where you give people video cameras, ask them a question, and then tell them to make videos of what exactly that question answer looks like in their lives. So these research methods help us to gather data to help us answer a particular question. Okay. Now, as much as there are all of these set in stone research methods that we can utilize, it's also very important for us to know that you can craft new methods. These methods don't have to be stuck in one particular place. You don't have to say, oh, this one, because this one has been created, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to use this one. No. If you get to a point where the research methods that are available you gather the information that you need for the question you are asking, then it's important that you step away from it and find something different. And you can find something different through your own exploration. You yourself can create your own research methods. So the importance of telling you this is that don't keep your head stuck in one place to say, if it doesn't look this particular way, if I'm not using this particular method, then it means it doesn't work. What might be working might be you being able to craft a new way of gathering the data that you need. Okay? So before I move to the next final point, is everybody here with me? Does anyone have any questions so far? Okay. Thank you so much for constantly engaging, Bukola. Honestly, if I could give you a gift I will give you a gift. Everyone else, does anyone else have any questions for me? Like I said, I'll call names if nobody answers me. Anybody else? Are we all good? You can show by an emoji. Okay, Israel, you have your hand up. What's the question that you have?
Hello, can
Hi.
everyone hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So you mentioned that the research work, if we're going to work on a research-based work, are supposed to work with to answer a question, a research question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask this question. What if your research is not about answering a question, but maybe making a statement or making creating awareness about something you found out yourself? Hello? Hello?
Amanda, did you get a question? I think she's having a network problem. Amanda, did you get the question? Maybe it's the network on her side. Okay, I don't want to be too forward, so I'll just let's wait for her. It's a network from her side. But let me just give it from my own understanding so far from what we've been discussing. When you are trying to make a statement, the statement itself must have come from some intuitive questions that you have found answer to. So your statement is an answer to a question you already have in mind. Okay, welcome back, Amanda. You are muted, though.
Hello. Okay, sorry guys. My network went off for a bit, so I had to restart. Chai, and I've
Okay, no
missed all the
problem.
chat that everybody had. Hell, I'm sorry guys. If you sent
Well,
any questions, I missed it out. Israel was asking me a question. Israel, can you please finish your question?
Okay. My question was, what if your the research you are trying to work on was not to answer a question, but to make a statement to create awareness of what you are researching about, or maybe what you think people are not aware of around
Yes, that could also be. That's pretty much research on an art. That is research on the arts because what you're doing is trying to create awareness. You want to increase people's information bank. You want to let them know more about something. So that is research on the arts. I think that's what, yesterday, I'm not sure if that's what you were referring to, but if that's what you're referring to, then you were right. Yeah. So if you do research because you want to create awareness as opposed to answering a question, then what you're doing is you're trying to inform people, you're doing research on the arts. So what we'd expect to see is that you're dealing with a lot of archival information, and you're also working with present day information. And then you as well as a researcher, you're going out to see what exists presently at the moment. So you're looking at the past and then the present and then informing people about it. So even in that process of trying to do the work of increasing awareness, you're still going to have a question is going to come up nonetheless, and that question is what is going to guide how you look for the materials that you're going to inform people about. So it's like, okay, I want people to know more about iPhones, so the question you're asking now is what information about iPhone exists. What exactly is the information that is going on about the iPhone? What do we know? What don't we know? So you now go and do research on the iPhone. So when you do the research on the iPhone, you can then share with everybody what you have learned about it. And that could either be maybe you write a monograph or you create a whole new body of work, and then you publish your documentation as well. Maybe the articles that you read, the things that have informed your knowledge about the iPhone. Does that answer your question?
you. Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Okay. You're very welcome. Anybody else with a question for me? Anyone else?
I think we can continue, right?
All right then. Okay, let me share my screen now.
So yeah, I have a question. My phone was hanging, that's why.
All right, go on ahead, ask.
My question is, as an artist, like as an artist, what happens when an artist research leads to uncomfortable truths, like maybe like telling your truths in your work. There are
Mm-hmm.
some like I don't know how I'm going to put it. Like when you want to tell your personal truths, like your truths,
Yeah,
you don't want to tell a lie, just want to express yourself and tell the truth. But at the same time, you're scared of people judging you in some kind of way.
yeah.
So should the arts protect the audience or confront them? I don't know.
So, does the artist protect the audience or confront them? Are you asking?
Yes, yes. Through the research, yes. When you're making your research and you find out that okay, in order for me to bring this research to life, I have to
Mm-hmm.
put in my own truth as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a researcher, what do you think? Like, should the artist still go ahead and, I mean, put it out there, even
I
if
think
it
that,
is
that
his
would
or her truth?
okay. I think that that would depend on the artist. And when I say depend on the artist, is that if you get to a point where you know that you have to you put your truth forward to be able to speak about the work you're putting in, you have to then gauge with yourself and know like sorry, how important is this work that I am doing? And does it matter? Is it important for me to talk about this thing? If it is important for you, then go on ahead and put the work. If it is not, then it's best to just pack up everything, because I wouldn't advise you to put a half-baked work out there. Something that if you know that your truth being in that work is going to make it better and make it richer and make it more worthy, then I say confront the truth and stand in that courageous and strong and put it out there. And let the audience, if they must judge you, let them judge. If they must criticize, let them criticize. Because that's also important. You need to be able to, as you're reading other people's work, you are also at the same time criticizing it, even if you're not doing it to their face. So you must open up yourself to that same level of criticism. So you have to be confident enough and say, I'm going to step forward. If not, then just pack up the work and keep it, because you're not willing to do what is necessary for you to do to be able to put it out there. But at the same time, there is also ethics that comes into the place of research. So when we keep talking about the class, then we're definitely going to talk about ethics, and you see how that can fit into the answering of this question. But I know that when you're confronted with things that are uncomfortable, and that is a truth that you need to tell as a part of your work, be courageous as an artist and put out the truth there, and be vulnerable enough to put yourself in the work and put it out there. But if you think that you can't do it, then pack it up. And if you know that you can do without revealing yourself, then find a way to go about it. But whatever it is that you find that is fact and is true, be honest about it. Even when it comes to even revealing, okay, I could have added more to this, but that would have made me delve into a personal place that I wasn't ready to go into. That is a truth. And I think that that is also worth acknowledging as well. Yeah. I hope that answers your question in some way. Hello.
Thank you, Amanda.
You're very welcome. So we're going to move on now, so that we can be able to finish the rest of the class before 3 o'clock, because we're already at 2 p.m. Okay. Israel, I see your hand up, but I will take questions later. So let me just, I don't know why my screen isn't showing.
It's showing now.
Okay, I can see it now. So now, how do you decide on what research method to utilize when you're conducting research for you as an artist? Now, how do you decide what research method to utilize when you're conducting research as an artist? The first is to understand the why. Because if you're going to study into something, like I said, answering Israel's first question, just because you're trying to increase awareness does not mean that a question would not be formed. You need to have a question you're trying to answer to know what exactly it is you're looking for. You don't look for something if there isn't a question you're trying to answer. If you already knew, you wouldn't be searching and you wouldn't be researching. So if you are having to do research, it means that there is a question you're trying to answer, and it is important to be clear on what that question is. And by doing that, you understand the why. Why are you looking into that subject? Why are you looking into that topic? What is it that you're trying to know? Then, excuse me, then once you're clear on your why, you can then situate your research practice within the process. Now, what that means is that you need to then answer, okay, this thing that I'm doing, how does this fit into my artistic practice? At what point does my artistic practice come in? Photography, maybe I'm photography. How is that going to fit into this? Is it going to be the medium that I use to answer the question, or is it going to be the you're answering questions, or rather, when you're doing research, you might find that your initial motive would change. It's not what you came in might not be what you are living with. So you might say, "Oh, I want to go and teach people about the iPhone," only for you to get there. And but by the time you study, you're like, "Okay, let me even know about the people I'm going to go and teach about the iPhone and what they know about it already before I even start thinking." You now find out that they know, and 80% of them know about the iPhone, but what then comes up for you from that knowing knowledge is that they don't know that, oh, with the iPhone they can probably send live location, they can play games with their friends on iMessage. They can be able to, sync their iPhone to their Apple laptop. They can update things on Google. Maybe they don't know about certain features. So they utilize the iPhone, but they don't use it to the big capacity. So now your entire research purpose has changed. You're not going to go and inform people about the iPhone anymore. What you're going to do now is you're going to now teach people about how to use the iPhone. So you get clear on your research question through experimentation and consistent inquiry and brainstorming. So the same thing would happen if you had other questions to answer, that what you start with may not be what exactly you end with. So then you clarify the conditions of your research. What are the limits and possibilities? What will it take for you to do what you're doing, and how much access do you have? Think about the timeline, duration, the financial means, the access to the people, the sources and for even the ethical aspects. So when you think about it, what that would be like would say, okay, now I need to go and meet these people. Which are the people I'm going to meet? People in Ijebu. I want to go and find out. I want to teach people in Ijebu about the iPhone. And now I found out that they actually know, but they just don't know those features. So how am I going to teach them? I might need to go and organize classes maybe once every week, but then I don't have the money for it. So it means I might need a ground support. Okay, if I don't get a ground support, I'll need people to work with me. So it means I'll need volunteers. And I'll probably need to be able to go there about 2 to 3 times a week for me to be able to impact them properly and even have practical classes. So that means I need to get some dummy iPhones. Can I reach out to Apple to supply me some dummy iPhones I can use to train them about how to use the iPhone better? So you see, now that you're asking all these questions, you're now starting to realize that there are factors that can affect your ability to get the answer that you are looking for. So now you have to start thinking about, okay, fine. If this issue is coming up, I need money for this, I need manpower for that, I need more time here. How can I be able to execute it with the efforts that I have? So that would then help you then frame the method that would help you answer the question. So you say, based on what I want to teach these people, what I've realized that they need to learn, and all the limitations and possibilities and the effort it would require for me to be able to teach these people well, this is how I'm going to gather the data and information, and this is how I'm going to disseminate it. So you can decide on your research method through doing research itself to help you know how you're going to get the information you need to know even self, okay, how am I going to disseminate this information? What is their way of learning? How are you going to ask questions? So this community is very close now and I don't have that much money. So the most effective way would be maybe I can just get some people to volunteer with me and then we'll go one by one. Instead of talking to everybody in the community, we can then decide to just talk to people who use iPhones the most in the community. Maybe it's call center people or people who run cyber cafes and that. So you see, your research method is then skewed, changed, and moved around by understanding what you want to do and where you're trying to get to. Okay? Is everybody on board with me? Have I lost you? Because I know it was quite a bit of an explanation. Everybody here with me? Yetunde, Dotun, great, 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 great. Thank you so much. Kolawole, Inka, I see you all. Thank you. You're on board with me. Amazing, amazing. So let's go now down to the ethics. What are the ethical issues? I see you, Paul. What are the ethical issues? Thank you, Balogo, that can come up when you're doing your research. Now, research ethics are essentially being able to apply fundamental ethical principles for any research activities into the work you're doing. So you need to make sure that you're doing your research ethically. Now, what can that involve? It means when you're designing your research, when you're thinking about your research methods, when you are deciding that this is the demography I'm going to work with, whether you're working with people physically or you're working with archival materials or you're even looking at the work of historical artists who have done stuff that is inspiring you, or you're working with somebody's research materials, or you're reading somebody's book, you must do it with respect for the work that you're doing. You must be conscious of how you are using it and what you are putting out, and also to regulate the information you're getting. So not just using every single thing that comes to you, but being able to take what is important and what exact helps you to answer the question that you are looking to answer. Some of the examples of the research ethics, according to the City University of Hong Kong, are being honest about what it is you're seeing, being objective and not allowing your emotions to skew. And that even if your emotions in any way influence what you put out, that you are able to be honest about it. That when I was creating this body of work, I experienced the emotion of maybe anger or stress or frustration or joy, and I was able to infuse that into the work, which is why the output is very different from those of my predecessors who have worked with the same material. It must be one of integrity, that whatever it is that you say is what you've done, and that when people look at your work, they can be able to say, okay, I trust this person because they're a person of integrity. Anything they release is honest and pure. That you are careful, you are open, you respect other people's intellectual property, and that could be by documenting and giving them credit. You treat things with confidentiality, and then you publish responsibly. Not that you're publishing rubbish or publishing lies. You're telling people the truth of what you've seen and making sure that you are doing work that is excellent. Your spelling is right. The way you frame your work is proper, giving regard and respect to yourself as a researcher and to those whose works that you have used in the past. So to now go down to artistic research. Now, because of the nature of artistic research, and there's uncertainty in the research process. Like I said, we're dealing with abstract things, things that we can't really touch or easily quantify. And so the research methods that we would use to gather information will be very difficult. We're not
I think we're having a network issue with Amanda again. Let's just wait for her. She will join back. Wait for her to join back again. Can you just write what you've learned so far? How was the class? How was the workshop? There's so much to learn from Amanda. I think her former life, she was a professor somewhere. So what have you been able to learn so far? Can you just type that in the comment section? Let's just read through. Okay, I can see some people already typing. Sharp, good, new perspective and essential of art practice. Very well, very well. Yes, I need more comments. I think Amanda is back. I need more perspective. I need more comments. What have you been able to learn so far? How's the class going? How's the class going? What have you been able to learn so far? Just drop that in the comment section.
Hello.
Okay, she's back.
I'm so sorry.
The network issue, right?
I was just talking, and next thing I knew, the screen just went off. I'm so sorry, guys. Let me share my screen again.
Right. All right. All right.
Okay. So I was saying that because of the nature of artistic research and the fact that we deal with uncertainties in our process because of the kinds of questions we ask, there typically isn't a clear method sorry, there really isn't always a clear way of saying that, oh, these are the ethics that you must follow, or these are the ways to think about it. Rather, what we then encourage is that because there's uncertainty, let that allow you to imagine and discover new ways of protecting the people that you work with. Like, let that space, that liminal space of what exists and what you don't know, be the very thing that inspires you to create, and then create more ethical processes. So if you realize now that, oh, the research method I want to follow is going to affect this particular community of people in a way that's so unique that you have not seen anywhere else people have addressed ethical issues for that kind of situation, allow yourself to begin to think, especially from a human perspective, how do I protect the people involved? How do I make sure that they are safe and that their privacy is respected, and that the work I'm doing is being produced in an honest way that doesn't cause them harm or cause harm to anybody else? And that even when I'm putting it out, that it has their consent and that they are well protected. And even if it's information you're dealing with that is archival, that you're dealing with it in a way that protects it for posterity's sake and that represents the honest truth of what it is that you are talking about. Okay? So, what are some of the, okay, now I've talked about this, the challenges. So, here are some standard practice for ethical artistic research. So, when you're doing research in the arts, here are some ethical things that you can pay attention to. Number one, study the topic. Yeah? Know what exactly it is you're talking about. Study the subject and even the community, and consult with experts who have done the same work that you're trying to do. This will help you ascertain if it is important for you to delve into that particular area, and then also how possible will it be? What challenges did they experience when they were trying to do it, and how did they communicate their findings? So learn from those who already exist and who have done before. Then know how the research you're doing and even the method you're using to answer the question is going to affect the people involved. If you have to go to an area that is not open to the general public, you can't carry Mopo to that side now. Obviously, it's going to make people feel unsafe, even though you might be thinking about, oh, I'm thinking of my own security. You may more have to immerse yourself in the community to feel a sense of safety. So it's important to think about whatever research methods you're using, how is it going to affect me, the researcher? How is it going to affect the community? How is it going to affect the people who are supporting me to do the research? So if you have like team members, your assistants, you have volunteers on the subject with you, how is it going to affect every single one of them? The information you're gathering, the website you're going to get that information from. Practicing ethical research is making sure that you are thinking about the impact of your work. And that this impact is not just when you're doing the work or even after the work is done. Okay? So here are also some things as well to think about. Know that your research must benefit the individual or the society you're talking about and minimize risk and harm. So whatever you do must be geared towards helping them grow as opposed to putting them in harm's way, and that everybody's rights and their dignity is protected at all times, whether it is with abstract information you're dealing with, or you're dealing with archival information, or you're dealing with scientific fact information. Make sure that whoever is involved, that their rights are protected, and make sure that the consent, informed consent, is always very much important. Your research must be transparent, and the lines of responsibility and accountability must be clearly defined. If you are working with a research team, let everybody know that this is what you're responsible for, and this is who you report to, so that if there is any issue at any point in time, we know who to hold accountable for it and then how to correct the issue. Okay? All right, so now we're going over to documentation, which is a very, very important part of artistic research. And with documentation, we're looking at how do you take care of the information that you get. Now, why documentation? Documentation is important because you need to let your readers know that the products created in your, first of all, it's important because whatever it is that you've created in your practice has to be documented. It's evidence of the research you've done. So if I come and say, oh, you've done research, show me the things that you utilized during your research, I need you to show me the documents you've used, the websites you went to, the books you read, the films that influenced your work. So you must be documenting. Have like a separate sheet where you write these things down and document them. If it's pictures you use, create a folder for them and name them appropriately and accordingly. If it's a website you visit, have a link, a sheet where you can be able to post all of these links so that you can be able to refer back to them. It also helps you avoid plagiarism. That is saying that somebody else's work is your own work. If someone comes to come and accuse you, you can always pull out your documentation and say, okay, the person you're referring to, this is their work, and this is the process of me getting to where I wanted to get to. So whatever it is you're jotting down, whatever it is you're writing, you need to make sure that it is well documented, because this is your own personal archive. And it is so important now for artists to begin to create their own personal archives for posterity's sake and even for their own sake as well. Because as on one day, you're going to be able to go back, which is what is mentioned here, to recall. You might be doing something today and then you've forgotten about it. 3 months later, you're like, oh my God, I think that method would be very good with answering this question. But you don't remember how you got to that process, what steps you took, what materials, or who you spoke to give you that answer. So when you document, it can help you to remember. It can also help to protect your academic integrity so that you know that whatever it is that you say or do, you're doing it with honesty, you're doing it with fairness, that anyone involved can trust you. You did it with respect to whoever was involved, and you take full responsibility and you did it responsibly well for whatever it is you've done. So protects your academic integrity and also provides your readers with source materials that support your work. So if I'm a fan of your work now, if I know that you have a personal archive, I can visit it to now see, oh my God, this is exactly what inspires Yetunde. Like, this is the thing that she was referring to that helped her create. Sorry, this is a specific thing that she was referring to that helps her create a particular body of work, that helps her answer this particular question. Now I understand her work better. Now I see where she was coming from. So it provides other people. So even when people want to reference your work, they can look at documents that come from your own personal archive, or even reach out to you and say, hey, this thing that you created in 2029, do you think you can help me with some of the resource materials that helped you with your research? And you can always refer that to share knowledge with people. Because remember, artistic research, whether you're using it as a tool or you're using it as a part of your practice, is always knowledge oriented. It is looking for knowledge, creating knowledge, storing knowledge, and transmitting knowledge. All right? So now, what are some things that you should document? Any quotation you hear that's not yours, any phrase, any summary or in written work of another individual, you document that. Any opinion that is not yours, you write about it. If you read somebody's work and that helped you understand something, tell us whose work you were looking at. Any statistical data that you didn't compile yourself, any visuals that you did not create, any software programs you did not develop, you must document it. We need to know, okay? Processes, products like performances, workshops, sessions, formats, teaching protocols, everything, you must document it. Even your own thought processes, you document that as well. Listening to the work of this researcher, they said that they recorded every step of the artistic process, from the process of conceptualizing it to then manipulating the materials and even executing the artwork. They documented all of these things because it affirms them that I did this work. I did this work in my practice, and these are the steps that I followed. Now, how do you document? You can document journals, diaries, voice recordings, videos, images, pictures, audio recordings. Like I said, for voice recordings, you can even have scripts, scores. You can have a booklet that has a list of all of the books you've read, all of these things. You can have a website where you document as well. Whatever it is, you put it in a folder. You can use Google Drive. You can use Dropbox. You can even document on your laptop, but just making sure that everything is organized. So now I also have like some lists here about how to document. I'll share this document with you once we are done. So documentation is a very important part of your process as a researcher. Then finally, how to read. When you're reading for research, you're not just reading, opening up your book and then just saying, oh, I want to read what someone has written, and then you close the book and go away. No, no, no. It is intentional reading, reading that is done with the aim of answering a question. So you must even prepare to read for research. You don't just read for research like you're reading for a book. You are using it to answer a question. So you need to even know what question are you trying to answer with what it is that you are reading today. So, what I recommend when it comes to reading for research is that you must allocate time during the day where you're able to read without distractions. Then you have to set goals for your reading. That would help you have a focused reading session to know what is valuable and what is not. So, the goals could be like asking yourself, what is the purpose of today's reading session? Do you want to get more information today, or is there a particular question you want to answer, or is there something you want to know more about? Why am I reading today, and what will I be reading? And then create a reading document where you record the answers you find. So if you're reading now one person's article and they say something that resonates with you, you just copy it, paste it, and write out the name of the person so that you are able to record it. It can help you with your future writing and also serves as a form of documentation and reference material. Here's an example of a reading session that I had last year. So this was reading session number 4. I clarified the goal of the reading session, which was I wanted to understand the influence of climate whilst building. So every time I read, oh, Paul, it would be so, oh, I wish you could stay, but I understand. But thank you for joining us so far. All right, bye. So when you're reading, so now look at this now. Everywhere that I found something I was interested in, I highlighted it, and then I put at the bottom the name of the people and the year. So this was where I got the article from Ajibola and Costa. Sorry, it was Costa and Ajibola's work. That's what I put it here. I had the article as well. Same thing here. And the title of the article was page 1, Analysis of Climate Web of Southwestern Nigeria for Building Design 2017. So if I'm ever looking for this information again, all I just need to do is find this, and then come to this section, page 1, like that. So even here as well, another reading session, the goal was to finish the chapter on Nigeria's architectural achievement. In the process of reading the chapter, there were things that stood out for me. The first impression, da 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 da. This is where I found the page 111 of Chimalski's work. Another quote here, page 12. This is what I found out. Another one, page 13. These quotes are things that were very helpful when I was reading. So in the future, when I have to now revert back to it and say, oh, okay, these are the things I read, this is what I was able to understand, or I think like, there's that thing that I read that time, I need to remember what it was about. I can always refer back to this. So it's important to document whilst you read. So why is artistic research important? It's because it helps you gain depth and clarity in the work that you're doing. It helps you come across as more serious, more professional. Your work has more substance. You're not just doing the work and doing it based on vibes and inshallah. So, oh my God, I had a feeling of emotion and then I'm pouring that emotion into my work. There's a place for that. But if you want work that is intentional, work that is expansive, work that causes people to think, to know more, or to even change the way they perceive something, you have to go deeper than just your own feeling. You have to be intentional. You have to see what other people have done before you and what are some ways you can contribute to the existing knowledge. And that in the process of contribution, where are the places you're going to seek the information? How are you going to gather this information? And how are you going to make sure that in the process of gathering it, that you're doing it ethically? And that even in the process of gathering this information, you are documenting the process, because as you have the access to reach out to other people to see what they have done, you are also the other people for somebody else when they need to do their own research work. So it's important for you to also be documenting the work that you are creating and the work that you are doing. So how are you going to be documenting it? And when you have to sit down and read for your research work, how are you going about your reading process? Are you making out time to make sure that you are not distracted and you have all the resources that you need to be able to do your work? That is a very important question to answer. So I think that artistic research is very important because of the ways that it can make your artistic practice much more meaningful and have more depth, and even cause you to question your medium, your tools. That if I start as a photographer, is photography the very thing that I need to use to answer this question? If I start as a writer, maybe I need to use performance art to share with other people the work that I have created? And it really does shape you and gives you the ability to think critically about art, not just as a piece of entertainment or a source of income, but as a record of human history and also of your own work and the creation and innovation of culture in real time as you are a contributor to that. So that's why I think artistic research is important. So before I ask you people my question, I want to know if you have any questions for me so far.
All right. Thank you very much, Amanda. I really appreciate you. So much has
Yeah.
been said. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, the floor is now open to question. Although I have like one or two questions here, but then the floor is open for questioning. So if you have questions, can you just raise up your hand so that we take it in the order at which the hand is raised? All right. No, while we wait for others to ask the question, I actually want to ask. I read the particular book you shared with us last year. Maybe you shared
Mm-hmm.
this book with us about artistic research. And one of the things that was written in the book is that artistic research is not equals to art and art making. So can you please clarify that aspect? Artistic research is not equals to art and art making. Can you just clarify on that point, please?
Hmm. Which of the books did I share with?
The how to make artistic research, the one we shared in during the Guys Foundation
Hmm.
workshop.
Can you please repeat the question again?
Okay, the question, the one of the places that stated that artistic research is not equals to art and art making. So can you
Hmm.
please expand? Can you expand the difference between art and art making and the artistic research itself? It's more like
Honestly,
artistic research is discipline on its own per se. So can you please
mhm.
clarify?
I think that artistic research is a process that can lead to art making. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is art making itself. So,
Mm,
like I said to you, it can be a tool. It is not art making itself, but art making can be a result of it or a consequence of artistic research. So, artistic research is a process of seeking knowledge. That act of seeking knowledge is not the art. It is now the execution or the utilization of whatever comes out of the process of research that you then create the art. So maybe in your methodology, being able to answer the question you're looking for, what ends up is that you have a performance art or you end up with images. That is the art being created through the process of artistic research. So it's best to see artistic research as a tool, a process of being able to answer questions and create works that are situated within the artistic practice. It is not art itself. So if you're an artist, you're an artist. If you're an artistic researcher, you're an artistic researcher. And you can do artistic research that doesn't end up being about art, but simply just about the dissemination of information. So you could just end up writing something or sharing knowledge with people or having a class or teaching. But that does not mean that you have made an art piece, except you actually then say, okay, I'm going to create this piece of art that would help me communicate what it is that I have done. I don't think a
mm,
workshop is an art form. No, I don't think that a lecture series is an art form. No, I think that a film is an art form. I think that video is an art form, but they can be consequences of artistic research. They are not the research is not the art. Does that help you
mm.
understand that better?
Yeah. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the clarification. So
You're
now
welcome.
we now understand that the process of making art itself is alone, while artistic research is meant to influence the process or to
Yes,
improve the process.
yes,
Okay, yeah,
yes.
thank you very much. So,
You're
secondly,
very
before I open the floor for everyone, you made mention of something during the course of the section. You said that you need to have the research question, and you
yeah.
explain on why the research question is more important, and the fact that the research question can metamorphose over time as you dive deep into the research, and then you now started finding things that you will need to do to get the answers of those questions. So, in the place of seeking answers questions, you face with many roadblocks. How do you overcome the roadblocks in terms of finances, in terms of access to people, in terms of access to materials themselves? How can artists overcome these roadblocks?
I can't answer that question for that artist. It depends on the artist and the situation that you're in. If it is, if you meet the roadblock and the roadblock is finance, gotta find a way to make your money. Apply for a grant, apply for a residency, find a job on the side that you can utilize. If you realize that your roadblock is you don't have access to resources, ask for help. You know, and I think asking for help is one of the best ways that you can go above any roadblock. And that help does not mean that you're going to get the exact answer. Oh, I need money. They will give you money. Sometimes it will just be a conversation that can open up your mind to being able to answer that question or find the solution to that particular problem. So it's a very individual situation. Like whatever roadblock you face is individual, is unique. Not everybody is going to have the same roadblock. Something that someone might see as a roadblock, another person might see as an opportunity. So everybody's going to face a unique roadblock. Sometimes it could be that the roadblock is just an emotional experience. You know how sometimes you might be working on a body of work, like the lady who asked the question earlier, the roadblock you might experience might even be a psychological one that requires you to be very vulnerable. So when you face that roadblock, that sort of thing, the one thing I know that would help anybody is ask for help. Reach out to somebody and ask for help on how you can deal with the issue, or spend some time reflecting on your own as to how can I solve this problem by myself, or find a way that you can even make the problem that you have come to a part of the work. So it's like, this is the issue that I faced that made it difficult for me to be able to execute it this much, but then I was able to do this. Or even use it, that limitation, as a form of inspiration for yourself to then decide, okay, if this is not available, how can I then make what I want to make with what is available for me? So it's unique, and everyone must spend their own time finding and being open to the unique limitations that come up for them. But the general way that I know that you can help, irrespective of the type of limitation, is self reflection with the intention of seeking solutions and asking for help.
Thank you very much. I like that the way you put it in perspective. I think one of the issues that many artists have right now is asking for help, because artists are always known as the more like a god representative, because they are creatives, they are authors themselves. They make things that has not been existent to come into existence. So asking for
Mm,
help is not something that is too cool with artists themselves. So I think that's one of the parts we are going to look at in case during when you are doing artistic research, knowing that you don't have all the necessary resources, that you are willing to ask for the help from those who have
mm.
it, and or those who have access to them. Yeah, thank you very much. I think Israel has a question. Can you ask your question now, Israel?
Hello.
Hello.
So a question I wanted to ask earlier was, I think you have answered my question, but I still want to ask it in case maybe the question might help others in the house. So the question is that, is it ideal for an artist to create work just because he feels like creating and no research about it? Because I spoke to an artist and he was like, if I just create, I'll just paint, I'll just draw. And I was like, why are you drawing? He said, because I just want to draw. Anything that I draw, that's what I just execute. So do you think it's ideal that way, or is making research is the best way?
Um, you have a right to make your art because you want to make your art, not because of anything else that is of depth or has meaning or that. Like you, if you want to make your art simply because you want to make art, that's perfectly fine. Every artist has a right to make their work for any reason. But if you do also want to then do research, it's then important for you to know why you are doing the research and what is the purpose of it. So research is something that you do intentionally because you want to either expand the work you're doing or go deeper into it. So the moment you move away from that point of I'm making art for the sake of making art, then you need to now start thinking about research as a part of that art making process. It can't just be art for the sake of art anymore. It's more than that. So if you want to make art for the sake of art, that's fine. Just be honest about it and open. Like, yeah, I'm making art just because I want to make art. It doesn't have any meaning. It doesn't have any deep anything. I didn't research. I just felt something and then I created it. But when you now say that I no longer want to make art for the sake of making art, I want to make art because it can mean something, or I want to add into some certain knowledge, or I want to do it because of this, then research has to be a part of your work, and it has to be done intentionally.
Does that answer your question, Israel? Okay,
Yes,
great.
yes.
Oh,
Thank
great, great.
you.
So just want to point out our first section of this proposed Living Artists workshop was we had Christopher Samo, and the theme of the topic for the section was art for a cause or art for art's sake. So whether you want to be an art that just want to make art for art's sake is pretty cool, and if you want to make it for a cause, you want to answer some particular question in the society, you want to make it for a cause, it research oriented, then you need to go through all this process that been explained. But then the overall effect of it is that the way that the society will perceive the one that has research oriented is going to be different from those who just make beautiful things.
Mm-hmm.
So the reception is going to be different. And institutionally speaking, there is more preference to one than the other. So you know the kind of artist you want to become. Then you now decide on which part you want to toe, whether you want to toe the part of art for art's sake or to the part of art for a cause or that are based on research and that has institutional backing. So yeah. Do we still have another question? Okay. Okay, it seems we have no question again. I want to thank you so much, Amanda, for this section. It's
Sorry, I have
been
a question. I'm
Okay.
awesome.
trying to raise my hand. It's not
Okay,
working.
okay, no problem. Please go ahead.
Mm, okay. Is video documentation also accepted as a form of documentation for a research topic?
Yes, it is.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I just wanted to confirm.
You're welcome.
All right, do you have any question before we wrap it up for today? Do you have question? All right, so if there's no question, thank you so much for joining in. I think we have about 20 plus people that joined the class today.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Olayinka, you have a question?
Yeah, actually, I don't have a question. Amanda, please, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us. Actually, it's been a very intense workshop. We've had several workshops this year. I think this is our third workshop, but
Mm-hmm.
I can bet it that this is one of the best that we've had. And the
Oh.
beautiful thing about this workshop is I'm actually trying to work on the research because I have an upcoming mural project that I'm trying to work on with my collective.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've been thinking on how we can go into the city, which is our town here in Badagry, doing
Mm-hmm.
interviews from people. Like, we're trying to just venture into random people, talk to them, get their insight and stuff. And I think even with this workshop that we just had, I have a better understanding.
Yeah.
Because right now I understand that I need to get my why, understand my why before
Mm-hmm.
venturing into this kind of research. So thank you so very much, Amanda.
You're
Thank you very
very
much.
welcome. You're very welcome. You're very
All
welcome.
right,
Okay. So I
thank you so
guess
much.
I have like my own question to ask because I did mention that I was going to ask a question.
Definitely.
Yeah. So at the beginning of the session, I did ask all of you a question, and the question was, um, sorry, 1 second. I did ask a question which was like, why do you think, what does research look like in your practice? And why do you think, what do you understand artistic research should be? So the last question I want to ask you guys, and I want everybody to answer this, is why do you think research is important for your practice? As an artist now, with the work you're doing, why do you think it is important? Williams is saying that, asking a question of what are things we can research on in African art. And I'll say to you, Williams, find what you are interested in African art and then make a research on it. Moses says, thank you so much, Nzewa and Dalu. So thank you very much. So I want you all to answer the question of like, why do you think it is important for research to be a part of your artistic practice? Like I said before, if you don't answer me, I'll call names. So you better answer.
Okay. Bukola says debt, impact, and let me see. Depth, impact, and passing of knowledge. That's it, right? All right. Personal clarity. Okay,
Yeah,
I want
depth.
everybody to start to drop in now.
Yeah, depth and meaning. Yes, indeed. Yes, personal clarity. That is true. Bukola says depth, impact, and passing knowledge. Amazing, amazing. Who else again? I'll call names. Oh, yeah. Now let's start. So yeah, Adiola Balogun. What did you learn? Why do you think research is important? Nathan, Israel with the questions. Arinze. Why do you think research is important for your practice? Mariam, Damilola, Moses, good boss, Kolawole. Why do you all think it is important for your practice? Yinka, Goke, Samuel, Viragi, Victor, Williams, Yewande, and Becker. So you can unmute yourself and answer. You can also just type your answer in the box, whatever you think. I just want to hear from you. Like with everything you've learned so far, why do you think it would help with your practice? So Damilola says depth and growth. That is true. Williams says in order to preserve knowledge and pass it from generation to generation. That is true as well. Thank you. Adiola, do you want to add something to this?
Yeah, Amanda, thank you very much.
You're very
I
welcome.
actually I joined the session a little behind schedule. All right, so it's a bit painful that I missed part of your presentation.
Mm,
But notwithstanding, I think I still enjoyed the presentation, and I want to deeply appreciate you for that presentation. You've actually, you know, given us the answer during the process of making this presentation. And
mm,
if there's anything, I mean, I practice art, I teach art, and one of those things why artistic research is necessary is about the fact that it helps to deepen whatever the artist is creating, because yes, you can create beautiful works, but it could be without depth. By the time you
mm,
engage in research, certainly it broadens your knowledge. You are in control of what you're working on, the theme, the essence, and the clarity, like it's been said earlier on, comes in. So I want to say that for whatever you're doing as an artist, it's necessary. You've also stated it that yes, I mean, as an artist, you can go ahead and create whatever you like, but if want to, I want to say that it's actually very pertinent for you to engage in it in order to deepen whatever you're doing, creatively. So I think I have that much to say. But I earlier wanted to ask you, all right,
yeah.
um, regarding qualitative and quantitative research methods, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you have to say about that? Which one is more relevant? Just for the purpose of some of us here, understanding what it's all about.
I think that they are relevant based on the question you're trying to answer. It's a matter of individual choice. If you think that a qualitative method would help you answer the questions you are trying to answer, then use a qualitative method. If a quantitative would work best, then use a quantitative method. It's really a matter of choice and which would help you best gather the data you're looking for. I don't think that it's a thing of relevancy or which is the best. It's just which works well for you.
Well, I'm thinking that in terms of when it comes to the creative research, I want to believe that you've said you're right, but I believe that qualitative research methods appeals to me more, right?
Hmm.
Maybe in view of what I do, what I practice anyway, right? So thank you for your response, and I want to appreciate you once again. And I want to get across. Maybe we need to talk. We need to talk.
Hmm.
I'll get across to you. Thank you very much.
No problem. You're very welcome.
Uh,
Um, all right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think I met Dr. Balogun in an art exhibition sometime this month.
oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for
Yeah.
joining us here. Thank you for everyone that joined. Thank you, Amanda. Do we still have
Thank
any
you for having
question?
me.
Okay, there's no
Bye.
question. And because of our time, we are running late. I want to appreciate you very much for coming and for your time. And someone has been asking if they can get access to the presentation document you used. Is that possible?
Oh yeah, sure. I can email it to you so that you can share
Oh,
it with
great.
everyone.
Thank you very much. I'm going to make that available for everyone that's needing it. Thank you so much for joining in. Like I used to say, I always wrap this every online workshop with three questions. The first question is, what book will you suggest? Will you recommend for artists and everyone online that join us can read that is going to improve the artistic research and things like that?
In terms of book recommendations for artistic research, I think it's the same one that I gave you guys during the class that you had, and also to just go up online and spend time reading what already exists and what people have online. And that if you're also looking for a book to read, it's just to search for things that or works that people have done. Yeah,
All right, that's
artists
number one. The
of
second question,
they've written.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right, thank you. The second question is, I understand that there are some documentation that might be made available online. Have you ever come across a particular documentation or a movie or a film that you think is going to help the artists that are joining in today?
Are you asking me?
Yes, yes, please.
Oh, okay. Are there any books online that I have read?
Yes, any movie or documentation that you've read or you've seen that will be more of help.
For the topic of artistic research, movie, no. Documentary, no. Just mostly the works that people have posted on YouTube, other students have posted on YouTube about artistic research. Those are things I've read. So like I said before, if you just go up on Google and just search for artistic research, I'm sure you'll be able to find things that other people have created and then read. I just encourage doing the work of searching, to be honest. And like I said before, if you know any artists that you are interested in their work, that you go on ahead and search for the things that search for
All
the
right.
things that yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Amanda. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
your
for
time. And the
having
last
me.
question, this is an ongoing series. So will you suggest somebody that we can take to bring on to the subsequent online session, like somebody you can suggest for us to bring on? Yeah, maybe a different topic entirely, or somebody you know that okay, this person will be good to offer something like to artists as we get out to navigate the ecosystem.
So I should make recommendations of what?
Exactly. Of some anybody that you think would be of help to get to pass knowledge across, just like for the subsequent section.
Oh, I'll have to think about that. Yeah. I'll have to think about that.
Oh,
Off the top of my head now, I don't know, but I'll have to think about it. I can send you a message about it later.
okay, okay, all right. Thank you very much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you all for joining in. Thank you everyone that's joining for today's section. I believe you've learned a lot in this section, and the most
Thank you for
important thing is to
having me.
put all
Sorry,
you've learned into action.
hello,
All
hello,
right, I have to go at the
All right,
moment.
hello.
Though. Thank you all
Oh,
yes,
for
please.
having
but
me.
your name, please. I saw Badagry Young. Your
Okay,
name.
my name is Paul Ayawo.
Okay, Paul. Okay.
Yeah,
All
Okay.
thank
right.
you very
Thank
much
Thank
you.
you
for
all
that.
for having me. I have to be on my way now because I have a 3 o'clock meeting at the moment. But it was a
All
pleasure
right,
being
thank you
here.
so
I'll
much.
talk to you soon. Bye.
All right. Thank you
Bye.
so
Bye.
much for
Thank you very
coming.
much.
Thank you. Really
Bye
appreciate
bye.
your time.
You're welcome.
Yes,
Bye bye.
thank you. All right. It's a wrap for today's section. Our next section will be bringing in a art collector and art patron for our next section. So today wraps the end of the curator and gallery section. In the past, we've had two artists, and now these are the two. Then we have two artists and then the two curators. So the subsequent
Mm.
section we're having, we should be in this August, September, October, is going to be having a art collector and an art patron, and subsequently in November or December we'll also be having another art patron or art collector. So I know you don't want to miss the next section, and it's been an awesome time having you guys here, and I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining in, and yeah, see you next time. Yeah, yeah,
Thank
please,
you.
if you are
Thank
just
you,
joining
Paul.
us here,
Amanda,
you
thank
can
you.
please,
Bye bye.
yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. You can just go to our Facebook page and either Facebook page or Instagram page, and follow us on our Instagram page. We're also on YouTube. So this video will be made available on YouTube. So you can just Google on YouTube Badagry Young Contemporaries. They have not started posting any content, so you can just follow up and click in
Okay.
the follow section and notification to get notification of all that you've been doing and our subsequent projects. Thank you all, and God bless you. Do have a nice day.